morning, Scheels. What's going on? Welcome to the 9 to Noon radio show. I'm Paul Allen with producer Eric Nordquist. This is 9 to Noon at Scheels in Eden Prairie. And it's Toys for Tots, as you heard from the wildly successful and highly touted Power Trip morning show. So stop by Scheels because this is a day for 9 to Noon where we have been pulled from our beloved Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center. Generally on Tuesdays, we are at the Minnesota Vikings facility. But here's why. We get to serve. And the privilege of using these microphones to share messages, many here, is not something 9 to Noon takes lightly. So in serious fashion, pointing others to come to Scheels to assist with the Toys for Tots program is something that's very important to yours truly, very important to 9 to Noon, and very, very important to FM 100.3 KFAN, the United States Marines, and the kids in need. So that's how you can help today with unwrapped toys, money, etc. And if you if you choose not to help, for instance, if you're listening now and you choose not to help because you don't know exactly where every penny lands, then please stop by Scheels and ask questions. There are many here to explain where the gesture lands if that's what you need to get over the hump when it comes to giving. And the program for many, many years has put smiles on the faces of thousands of children, and some of these kids they even receive up to 4 gifts. And toysfortots.org, I'm sure you've heard about it this morning. Very, very good website for frequently asked questions. There's a section on educating the public and how Toys for Tots in days like this work. So the website, if that's what's required to aid the program and aid the philanthropic endeavor, toysfortots.org, they do a wonderful, wonderful job in explaining exactly what's happening today. And good morning.
Good morning. Yes, whether it's where your time is going, if you donate your time, where the toy is going if you donate the toy. So go to the website, and a note as well, the first 50 donations of an unwrapped new toy during 9 to Noon this morning, you're going to get a KFAN Unreal Winter Beanie as part of that. As somebody that was a beneficiary, you could say, of a program like this growing up, it's such a blessing that we get to be a part of it each year, supporting and what the U.S. Marine Corps does in their efforts. And all the people, by the way, whether it was the Power Trip here, people on a workday showing up in droves, 9 to Noon starting to trickle in as well, and throughout the day with the Grum and Bumper to Bumper. So impressed that our listener base is so supportive of this, as they should be. So we're very thankful for that.
New unwrapped toys and or gifts include, but are not limited to, sporting equipment, action figures, backpacks, cosmetics, dolls, baby toys, board games, etc. And like Nordo just said, we are here along with KFAN until the end of Bumper to Bumper, and that'll take place at 6:30. Now for 9 to Noon, linebacker Blake Cashman will join us somewhere in the neighborhood of 10:30. He'll be here with us. He's an Eden Prairie native. Also Trishton Jackson, a wide receiver on the practice squad. He should be here within the next 30 minutes. And the head coaching covenant that makes up the radio show 9 to Noon today commences around the corner. Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch will be joining us via the phone lines at about 9:15. Boy, they just whooped up on the Lakers last night. Holy cow, we won a basketball game by 30 points.
We're begging for it now. It was back-to-back Lakers. We can play that game and all of that, but if we're looking finally for hints and bits and pieces of what the new guys are going to offer this team, and it feels like through 20, and we've only gotten to see it 3 or 4 times, but DiVincenzo last night defensively, and when Ant was having an absolutely hideous shooting night, you saw a little more distribution from him, and Julius Randle provided a lot of love. Terrific high double-double night for Rudy. So good times and perfect timing to have Mr. Finch on this morning.
Finchy around the corner, segment number 2. And Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, is the Tuesday highlight for 9 to Noon. Quite honestly, the radio highlight for the week for yours truly, and probably Nordo, too, when he joins.
Well, I hope Finch isn't listening. I love Finch, too.
Right. I mean, we crafted this when they were 8 and 10.
Oh, good call.
So Kevin O'Connell will be on the radio show today. He'll be at the Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center, and yours truly with Nordo will be here at Scheels in Eden Prairie. Kevin O'Connell at 11 o'clock, and he'll be sharing his takes on your 10-2 Minnesota Vikings. Also with Toys for Tots, middle schoolers, tots, kids, everybody milling about here at this wonderful store, Scheels. 9 to noon has a couple of takes for tots we would like to share, so you can become the smartest sports mind within your lunchroom covenant. Takes for tots, and here they are. Take it away.
Yeah, for me, I'm promoting intergenerational conflict on this one here because every era
I just like that term
is greater than the one before it.
It's like doom scrolling. What is that? The Twitter thing?
Yeah, doom scrolling.
Yeah, doom scrolling on Twitter. Hey.
Yeah, if you were having an awesome day, just put the social media down. For me, for these kids out there, and it might not be a new take, but an affirmation of a take, just go ahead with it. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are the best wide receiving duo in the history of Vikings football.
Oh, wow.
Just get out there and go to school. And what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of graybeards like me, a lot of Nordos out there that are going to speak about Randy Moss, that will speak about the toe-tapping sideline grabs by Chris Carter.
If they can remember.
That's precisely it. So the new kids now going to school, they don't wear Jordan jerseys as much anymore. They're wearing LeBron jerseys, and this is no different.
Yeah.
So stand tall with the statistical equity that is being built by Justin Jefferson, with the 10 touchdowns the rookie season of Jordan Addison. And people will talk about, you wouldn't believe the speed of number 84 back in the day, and you'll say, well, you watched him on standard definition, so he looked faster. Intergenerational conflict here. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, forget the past, look to the future. That is the best duo in Vikings football history. And, I mean, it works in several ways. It'll be like, hey, this Aaron Jones thing, there's been a lot of fumbles recently. Well, did you see Adrian Peterson back in the day? You can play those games all you want. New eras, new vibes, new players. I hope all of our Vikings fans, all of our tots are falling in love with what Mr. Jefferson and Mr. Addison are doing.
How about that? Amen on that take for tot right here at Scheels in Eden Prairie. My take for a tot is quick, and it also is a suggestion to the Minnesota Vikings coming from 10-2. It also can be a pressure point provided by Sukup and Sukup.com. Don't let the home crowd silence become so deafening it nearly kills your game. And after three in a row on the road, all right, and I don't think this is going to be the case Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. I think the home game that they just trudged through is going to be an eye opener from several standpoints, and it's difficult for players and coaches to talk about this. It's reality when it comes to Minnesota fans or home fans, whether it's the Wild, the Wolves, or the Vikings. They're going to be loud, but then they're going to sit back and chill, and they want to be entertained. And they will get out of their seats, and they will become loud, and they will become Minneapolis Miracle frenetic when you give them reason to cheer. And
kind of a prove-it-to-me fan base?
That's just a reality with this. A lot of fan bases, too, but especially here and especially when it gets cold. And when I say they have three in a row on the road, the built-in motivation is there for road teams because you're being booed and everybody is against you when you're running out of the tunnel. It happens at Wild and Wolves games, too. At home, they love you, but they want to be entertained. Give them field goals and minimal offense early, and your crowd will become stale and stagnant. This bunch ain't the Cameron Crazies, okay? This is not college football from Death Valley where they hoot and holler and cheer no matter the circumstances. The fans came to watch you. Most paid money for it, and they prefer to be entertained. So when it became hot late, the place was loud. But up until then, self-motivation was required, and the whole scenario was snoozy. So the take for the tot and or the point of pressure is if Minnesota fans want to play the stoic card, then the football team is required to take deep shots and or sack the quarterback repeatedly to get them going. Those are just metaphors for what's required to get the people to become loud. The team serves you, okay? You serve them. It's not the other way around. It's not the fans serving the team. So you start fast, and you give those who love you reason to verbally love loudly. and verbally, loving, loudly, they will provide. I bring that up because I truly do feel it played into the early facets of the victory against Arizona, but the early facets of the game.
I think they wanted style points. They wanted that weird, gritty 3-game road trip.
Yeah.
Show us now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm still eating leftover turkey from Thursday. I'm showing up here. Give us a show, and they didn't get it in the first half.
Well, they're going to get one this weekend, and we will talk more about that during the course of the 9 to noon week that will be. He's Eric Nordquist, and I'm Paul Allen. We're at Scheels in Eden Prairie for Toys for Tots. All of that is courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com, and what's on deck includes Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch, who joins us next.
Man.
Welcome back, Scheels and Toys for Tots. This is 9 to noon. Happy to be joined by Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland and twoharvest.org. We also thank Prize Picks for the KFAN sponsorship. And the head coach joins us now off a blowout victory over the LA Lakers last night. Chris, good morning. And what made last night such a convincing victory?
Well, good morning, PA. How are you doing? I think it was one of our most complete games of the season on both sides of the ball. We played outstanding defense right from the start of the game. That's been our focus, is to get off to better starts defensively. I think we've been doing that. We've had our offensive struggles over the last 10 games in particular, but I felt last night was one of our most complete and intelligent offensive games. We took advantage of a lot of the switching that they were trying to do when they were doing that. And then, it's good to see some guys who had been struggling to make shots consistently. And when everything comes together, it's always going to look pretty good.
As an NBA schedule goes, did you catch the LA Lakers at a good time?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, it was a tough back-to-back for them. They played a game that went to the wire in Utah. Got a little bit fortunate to win that game. They were down a few bodies, and then they got on the road, come here. We all have them. We all have these types of games in our schedule. The really good teams can win them. Other teams, sometimes they get you. We've had a few in our schedule already that we've had a hard time meeting that challenge, but you got to build that resiliency. I think the Lakers, they're a very good team. They will be a good team. They'll be there all year in the conversation. They have an identity. JJ's done a really good job early on, but there was a lot of kind of excitement and I think a lot of purpose to the way they were playing when the season started. And then, like anything else, when you see these guys for the second or third time, obviously get a better feel for them. But they've done a really good job of, coming together under a new coach. But I think a little of the luster is worn off, and now it's back to the grind for everybody.
And when you and the reason I brought it up is because coming from that record that got to 8-10, you got Edwards going after the team publicly. There are just steps that need, that clearly this better than anybody, need to be taken. And when you catch somebody in a compromising situation like a back-to-back, going from Utah to the cornfields, and if they're not going to be completely engaged, then blow them out. And just little steps like that is I would imagine, are things you're looking for to getting this full stride like it can be.
Yes, 100%. It's you got, no matter who your opponent is or where you're playing or what the circumstances are, if you're better than them and you're 10 points better, 12 points better, 17 points better, 4 points better, you gotta beat them by that margin on that night. You gotta maximize these chances and get better. And we've been really focusing a lot on just trying to play a complete game. In football, you call it complementary football. We don't call it complementary basketball, but that's what it is. We've got to help each other on both sides of the ball. Our offense has to help our defense, and our defense has to help our offense. And there's ways for that to happen that we really haven't been doing, and that's led to a bunch of inconsistency. But I see us really starting to figure some things out and slowly put the pieces together there.
Rudy, your center, Rudy Gobert, he gave you 17. How important to winning are points from Gobert?
Very. I mean, when you're struggling to score like we have been of late, you need points from everywhere and everybody. And that's really the essence of the game. Now, in the NBA, you're going to always notice there's a bunch of high-usage guys that take the majority of the shots, and we certainly have those guys. And Anthony and Julius here will, take the shots, ball be in the hand a lot, and they have the responsibility of creating offense. But the best offenses are the ones that everybody's chipping in. And we had that last night. We had a bunch of guys in double digits. Rudy's activity level was great on both sides of the ball. We've talked about making a more concerted effort to get Rudy involved in our offense. We had done it early. It was big for us. We had done it all last year. Just for whatever reasons, we kind of went away from it. And, sometimes teams forget what works, and particularly when they're struggling. You think it's natural. Hey, let's go back to what has been working. That's our job as a coaching staff to remind them and get them back on track. But, sometimes when things are struggling, everybody kind of looks to themselves to solve the problem rather than look to the greater good.
So that's a wonderful answer. And did the Friday night victory over the Clippers, did it in any way break some form of ice? Because you have Edwards commenting on the team, and when you get the team leader to do that, and it's not always you, that generally is beneficial and works in certain situations. I think clearly it has here. But then you eke out one against Harden, and then you blow out the Lakers. So that Friday night win at home, being able to get to the wire first, did that break the ice?
It did. I think it did in a couple ways, Hopefully it's the beginning of what sets us up for a good long run here of great results. But, we still have to go out and do a little better every time we play. Lots of things to work on. But it broke the ice because, we were staring at a long losing streak that was continuing, which is, something that we haven't really experienced here in the last year or so. That's one. We just needed a win no matter what. We played 8 straight clutch games, which is, games that are within 5 points inside the last 5 minutes. We played 13 of the 19 games of the season have been clutch games. I think that's the most in the league by any team. And I think it was an NBA, some sort of NBA record, like playing the most clutch games in a row. So, in those clutch games, like, of course you want to execute, you want to win them. But there's a lot of variance in those clutch games, so you got to try to avoid them if at all possible. And I would say, we just needed to win no matter how we did it, and we led for the bulk of that game too, the Clippers game. We made it interesting in the end, and we managed to hold on and win and make enough plays on both ends of the ball. But the fact that we kind of led the game the whole time, I thought that was the best part about it.
You coached James Harden when you guys were together in Houston, and I was at that game Friday night, and I was marveling. I hadn't seen him play live in a while, and I just marveled at like if basketball's an art, he has some Picasso to him. It just the way he moves his shoulders and the stop and go, and what he has to do to maximize these big box scores. I just hadn't seen him play live, in person outside of on TV in quite some time. And James can be mesmerizing, can he?
He sure is. I mean, he's a phenomenal player in many ways. He's, helped change the league to what we see now. When he was at his prime, he could score at all levels, was extremely efficient everywhere. He can really, really pass the ball. And, he's in an environment, in a situation right now in the Clippers where that's his wheelhouse. He's got a bunch of guys out there. He's carrying them every single night, and he's making them all a better version of themselves. And with his passing, his playmaking, his ball control, his defense, he's really buying into Garden out there. And I could tell he's having fun playing the game, and it's pretty incredible. It's certainly in the backside of his career. But he is one heck of a player.
Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, weekly 9 to noon, courtesy of Prize Picks and Second Harvest Heartland and twoharvest.org. Speaking of what I referenced earlier with Anthony Edwards, how did it go over last week when Anthony called the team soft and front runners?
Yeah, listen, nobody wants to be called such things, but I didn't have a problem with it. I've been on record saying this already. Like, I didn't have a problem with it because the same things were said to each other behind closed doors.
Right.
Now ideally, you don't want those things to get out, but he put it out there. It wasn't like it got out through some locker room leak. Right. He put it out there because he was going to challenge his teammates. And with Anthony, everybody who knows him, who's certainly his teammates, they know that it comes from a good place. He's got a great heart. He cheers hard for his teammates' success. He wants to win. He's about the right things. And he, even when he doesn't know or have all the answers himself or makes mistakes, he's allowed, he's held accountable. He's allowed to be coached. And so he's built up great credit with his teammates to do that. And he's not doing it on a weekly basis. And, later that next day, he's in the gym on Thanksgiving with some of his teammates, basically getting a workout in and leading a private pep rally for them, just cheering through their individual workouts to instill confidence in some of the guys who have been struggling to date. So, right. It's if nothing else through this tough period of play, Paul, like Anthony's leadership, his voice, his emergence, his maturity, the conversations that we've had, the recognition about what is and what is not right with our team, is the best thing about it, because that's what you want from your young star player who's, seizing control of the team with his actions and his voice. Being at that game on Friday, and I'm sure you can remember this. I can't remember what led to it, but with Anthony Edwards Friday night, something got under his skin. I don't know if it was a missed call, if it was a near little fracas or something, but he got about as mad as I've seen him play for a 2 or 3 minute stretch in some time. And not all players play well when angry. But Anthony got so mad, he's stealing the ball from Harden. I mean, when he gets mad, he's tough, isn't he? He does. He is. He has. And that's led to a lot of moments when he's been able to just kind of take over games late in games. And I do remember the time. I think he and Harden got into a little bit of a jawing match. I don't know if that's what sparked it, but yeah, he's his own hype man. He doesn't need anybody else to get him fired up. Yeah, and James' ball handling, even in his later 30s, is still high end, and he'll toy with you too. Anthony was so mad he stood up straight in front of him, let him do his thing, stole the ball from him, went down and scored. I mean that just does not happen often, and I'm like, damn, look at Ant go, holy cow! You mentioned Dante DiVincenzo. Oh, I just loved him last night. I mean, and I'm watching the game last night, and I'm like, don't let him start hitting 50% of his 3-pointers. Holy cow. If that happens, that's going to be amazing. But nevertheless, what did you like about DiVincenzo last night? He was so active. Yeah, I liked his passing, too. I thought he ignited a lot of transition baskets for us with hit-ahead passing. I thought, of course, he made shots. He made some big ones. Defensively, he was active. He was physical. Thought he played, really solid. Dante has a habit of gambling sometimes. He's aggressive, and he'll take himself out of position. High risk, high reward. But he did a good job of just being solid and just containing and executing the game plan. So a couple good games for him. We have every confidence that he's going to be a major part of what we're doing here. And these early season struggles with his shot making will be long forgotten. Yeah, but I mean, he especially, but he and others were smiling and laughing and really playing off each other, and it just the confidence was bursting early in the game last night, and that's why I asked you about the metaphorical bubble being popped on Friday against Harden and the Clippers, because they just were a different group last night from what I've seen a majority this season from a happiness standpoint. Now with Jaden McDaniels,
do you just have to let him shoot through this 3-point slump? Just keep shooting. If you're open in the corner, keep shooting, and eventually it's going to come around.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some of that. I think we can also look at, playing him more in certain positions on the floor where he can do some other things rather than just rely on that shot until it does come around. Right. But that's how we are with all of our guys. Like, if you're afraid to shoot the ball out there, that's not good for anybody. And it's one of those things that your opponent senses that too. So you got to stay confident. And he's gone through periods like this before, and he's always bounced back. So last night he made a big one on the right wing when they were kind of chipping back into the game, and that was just enough to kind of give us a maintain, I think, like a double-digit lead. And you could see the kind of the relief on his body language when it went in. But he'll make more. There's no doubt about it.
Last one for Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So now you're at the LA Clippers, and you get a couple with Golden State Friday and Sunday. All three are out there. Last time you saw the Clippers on Friday, they were sans this guy. They get back scoring guy Norman Powell, and their center Zubats. Has he ever played better? I mean, he's really attacking the rim right now, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's benefiting from the James Harden effect. He's been a great player. I've been a fan of his. He's got great hands. He can catch and finish from all different places in and around the basket. He's a very, very good rim protector. But with the ball in Harden's hands and him in pick and roll with Zubats right now, it's one of the more lethal combinations in the league. And he's having a season. Because of it.
Safe travels, my friend. Thank you very much for the time, and I'll call you next week, all right?
All right, thanks, BA. Take care.
Yep, congratulations on last night. See you, bud. Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, weekly 9 to noon, courtesy of Prize Picks and Second Harvest Heartland. Speaking of giving, go to twoharvest.org, where you can aid in the feeding of families, and they are greatly in need now. Speaking of those families, twoharvest.org, twoharvest.org. Minnesota Vikings receiver Trishton Jackson joins us at Scheels when 9 to noon continues on KFAN. Can we have your attention, please? Scheels, KFAN, and everybody else. A raucous round of applause for Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Trishton Jackson joining us as we pause for the cause. What's going on, my man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Yep, good to see you. Now, growing up in the Detroit area, was it Detroit proper or the Detroit area?
A little bit of both.
Okay. When let's say 15, 17, 18 years ago, this is Toys for Tots. This is Scheels. I mean, you walk around here, look at the smile on your face. Think back, was it West Bloomfield or Feld, something like that?
Yeah, it was Bloomfield.
Yep. Walking around a place like this, Scheels, or thinking about toys back then. I mean, like, what did you like? What did you enjoy?
I was big into WWE.
Oh, yeah.
So I was a big Raster type fan, Rey Mysterio, Batista type guy. So I probably get those first, and then after that it'd be sports, football, basketball, soccer, anything I can grab.
Did you ever have a luchador mask?
I did not. My brothers did, and I tried to take before.
What's a luchador mask?
Well, he was talking about Rey Mysterio.
Well, I mean, old guys thinking about Gorilla Monsoon, Andre the Giant, and Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. And now we're talking about a Luchero mask? Sounds like something you buy at Mall of America for like a face peel.
Well, Trishton knows what's up, and I'm sure some of you out there, I grew up on I'm a little bit older than you are, but I grew up like Rey Mysterio was awesome, dude, flying around the ring. I mean, he was the wide receiver athletic type of wrestling in a day where they just Jim Duggan walking around with a 2x4 and the American flag. I mean, wrestling was awesome back in the day.
You got to add in the Hardy Bros too.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
But did you ever think it was real?
At a point, yeah.
Yeah.
At a point, yeah, actually.
Were you disappointed, like when you learned that it's just like a show?
I was.
Well, it's an amazing show, how they pull off the angles with the cameras and stuff to make everything look real.
Yeah, it was John Cena for me. As soon as I seen him in the movie, I instantly knew it was fake.
Trishton Jackson, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Atlanta Falcons being here this weekend, I've known Trishton since he got here. He was with the Rams before that in 2020. And, Trishton's a lot in life, along with players like Myles Gaskin and some other players on the practice squad that I've gotten to know. There's a certain level of acceptance where I'm not going to say, like, you watch back film and you're like, damn, I'm better than him, and him. No. It's not like that. No. But nevertheless, there has to be an acceptance of your lot in life to make others better around you, right? As a practice squad receiver, what do you do during the course of the week to make the Vikings and or the defense better?
So first off, to start the week, we have a meeting to, I guess, kind of identify who relates to who on the field, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So typically in my role, I play like the best receiver.
So you're Drake London.
Yes.
This week.
Or probably Mooney.
Okay. Darnell Mooney, though.
Yep. And so we start from us, like the bodies matching and, personnel and stuff like that. And then it gets deeper in the week as we go with scheme and schematically of things that they do as a defense. I have no clue. Flo's defense is crazy.
Right.
Nobody knows.
Right.
But also, it has a lot to do with mental for the defense and also for the offense if you're on the other side of the ball. But what I mean by that is you want to make sure that you're practicing at a level of how do I explain it? You look at how those guys practice on their team, and it's not that I'm acting like Mooney. I'm acting totally like myself, but I'm the number one receiver.
Right.
So if I see something, if I know something in the defense or whatever it is, I can act this if I was playing in that game. I can go off script. I can do these things. I can do whatever it is that somebody would do in a game-like situation. And we just are blessed with flow and a great defense to pick up a lot of things, a lot of tendencies, a lot of motions, whatever it is that they look at as defense. We are blessed to be able to be a part of that and to know that I can go out there each week with my role and just be myself and play football.
Right. Have you ever played the board game Monopoly?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Brian Flores, since you talked about him, would be the type of Monopoly player who would hide his $500 bills under the board. And just when you think he's broke, he pulls out something that leads to Kyler Murray being like, what? Throw up a punt. Byron Murphy Jr. comes down with it. Then Shaq comes down with one and the game's over. I mean, Brian's ability to sit back on what he loves and not use it until the most important times, that's a gift,
Yeah, I think we're blessed, honestly, with the head coach DC duo that does exactly what you just said.
Right.
I think that
Kevin too, yeah.
Kevin does the same thing on offense. I think Flo's ability to do that is very, very unique. That's why it allows us to go out and be in my role throughout the week to play like how I'm going to play. Then Flo comes and asks me questions. Okay, what did you see here? How did you get open or whatever? So then it comes in a game day. He understands and knows, and he does what he does.
Right. Trishton Jackson, Minnesota Vikings wide receiver at Scheels in Eden Prairie. It's toys for tots.
How busy is your week then where there's a combination? It's I'm watching film on Darnell Mooney and XYZ thing occurs and watch out where this trick Ray McLeod out of nowhere from 20 yards.
Like a boot trick.
But then simultaneously, you're a member of the Minnesota Vikings and a significant factor of being on the practice squad is you also have to be up on what you might do as a member of the Purple on game days as well. How is that balance?
For me, I'm kind of in a weird role. Like, it's not all the way practice squad for me, if it's weird, if you understand.
Yeah.
So I know I was talking to Paul about this. So he understands how close I am to the receivers. And I may have that role of being on practice squad, but I also have to prepare like I'm playing. And also I feel like I am I had an interview with Gabe before. I'm going to be a coach one day.
Yeah.
So for me
sweet.
to understand everything was going on the offense, I have a busy week each week. So I help out the defense, obviously, with the practice squad things, but also helping out guys in my room, Jordan Addison, Justin, Speedy, Trent Sherfield, just with like little things that we might not talk about for a long time in that walkthrough or practice or meeting. So I'm just constantly being in those guys' ears, giving those guys confidence to go out there and play fast at a high level. Also, which helps me out, being able to be like, okay, well, if I get that call up, I'll be prepared to. So my week to week is kind of like a little difficult, but I manage each week, and I love it. So.
And Trishton, having been around half a decade with a couple of teams, well, no, I'm being serious here, is when he says that, that he part of his role is working with the wide receivers. It's a very important role, especially now through the 10-2. Trishton and Justin Jefferson, I'd say are best friends. I mean, they're extremely close. And I would imagine during this time with Justin, where seeing him in the locker room after some wins, it's clear he's happy the team won. He knows eventually he's going to get his. But watching back these games with him, if you do, and he's doubled and tripled almost every single time. I mean, what's that like being the bystander with him as he kind of talks his way through? Look, there it is again. Oh, there it is again. That's coming again. Mm-hmm. I mean, that has to be frustrating.
Definitely. But one thing about Justin is he has a unique ability to stay in the moment and stay right where his feet is. And what I mean by that is he has a great mental. Obviously, he's aware of those things and stuff like that, but he understands that he's getting other people open. He's affecting the game in a different way. But also, at the end of the day, it is frustrating. We are human, so it's frustrating. But at the end of the day, he understands we're a 10-2 team. We're playing good ball. Sam is playing good. The defense is playing good, and he loves that. He loves to win. So at the end of the day, he might be frustrated, and you might look at him like, oh, well, he looked frustrated after the game. But this is the human in him. He loves to win. By Monday, everything's gone. He's trying to get in the film room with KO and try to see how ways if he can beat the triple, beat the double, and stuff like that. So he's a big competitor, big winner. And I tip my hat off to him, honestly.
Well, it loosened last game, didn't it? I mean, maybe not exponentially, but because Kevin, the coach, joins this radio show every Tuesday at 11, and one thing I talked about him last week was, all right, Jordan puts down the 69 next to the sideline. You got 162. The tight end goes for 109 in the second half and overtime, basically wins the game. Justin has a 20 that you had to have.
Aaron Jones 100 yards too.
And there you go. Well, now this game, Aaron wins it or ties it with the catch. You had others around Justin having big games, and Justin put up some numbers. But it's loosening when you put that down on film, right? It's like, okay, keep doing this. But the second receiver is not going to have 62. He's going to have 162. And eventually you're going to have to come out, right?
Exactly. I think he understands that, obviously, him being the best receiver in the world, and I feel like we take that lightly. Like he's one of the best to ever do it. And when you are the best, you have to get double. You have to understand these things. But also at the end of the day, like you said, it loosens you up when you have a T.J. Hawkinson, a Jordan Addison, a Aaron Jones, and a Kevin.
And a Trishton Jackson. Catching 2-point conversions down Atlanta away from Josh Dobbs.
That was a good memory.
That probably was your career highlight to this stage, right?
Yeah.
Place was loud. I mean, that was a crazy game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're going to see your old quarterback in Kirk Cousins this Sunday, but a new quarterback in town with Sam Darnold. How impressive has it been, as you know, Kevin O'Connell's offense and what it takes to make this thing cook? How impressive has it been for Sam to kind of ingratiate himself, endear himself in that locker room, and ultimately execute at a high level the way that he has through 12 games?
I've been in his offense since I've been in the league, even in LA. So I understand the difficultness of this offense to run the show as a receiver. Me being in the room with Coop Cup and Justin Jefferson and Robert Woods. But as a quarterback, I want to tip off my hat to him just because it is tough. It's hard. Kevin throws a lot of curveballs in there, a lot of things throughout the week, so to get him prepared for Sunday. And also I think he does too, himself. And that's why I tip off my hat to him every time I see him. He's studying, he's talking plays, he's talking ball, talking to the receivers and stuff like that. And I think his ability to run our show is elite. He's playing at an elite level. 10-2 team. What more you can ask from him? So even with the drive last game, just with everything that happened, him just driving the ball down, and
when it mattered, he got it done, right?
Yeah. So I think I tip my hat off him. He's playing great ball. Proud of him, and let's see how this Sunday is.
Like O'Connell says. I mean, he says it a lot too. And sometimes when you say like culture and things like that, a lot it can become trite and overused. It's not the case with the Minnesota Vikings when Kevin says, "Be your best when your best is required."
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard that a million times. And there was a lot of that in that Arizona game, specifically defensively. And then like Aaron had a rough early part and then he comes through. You're fantastic. Thank you very much for the chat. I appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Trishton Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, wide receiver for your 10-2 Minnesota Vikings. Ben Gessling covers the team for the Star Tribune. He joins us at Scheels after this.